Our next storyteller said that what she loves most about New York is that her grandson Julian lives here. Yay. Ladies and gentlemen, Susan Mollo.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Susan Mollo, and I loved my job. I was a contract administrator for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and I started working there when I was 18 years old. And pretty soon I realized that the Port Authority was another family. And when we moved to the World Trade Center, it was my second home. We laughed hard, we played hard, we even worked hard on occasion. But a lot of Port Authority news lately. But it really was a very special place to work, and we supported one another in the hard times, and we celebrated the good times. Everything came to a terrible, terrible day for me. 8:46 on September 11th, I was sitting at my desk when my world just turned upside down. I was thrown into my desk when the first plane hit. Everyone started screaming. I can't repeat some of the things that we were screaming, but we all decided as a group that we needed to get out, and now. We walked down the stairs, and it was funny because it was the questions where, I wonder what that was. What happened? Oh, I got my new furniture delivered over the weekend. Everyone was calm. I was blabbing like I always do, just to kind of keep myself from worrying about things. When we got to the 44th floor, we were changed over to a different stairwell. At that point, we heard, get away from the windows, get away from the windows. I ducked into an elevator bank, and there was another explosion. I was thrown into the wall. That was at 9:03 when Building 2 was hit. Again, one person screamed, but there was no panic. And as we started down the stairs, someone said, a plane hit the building. My friend said to the person, please keep that to yourself, because everyone at this point was pretty calm. We started down the stairwell, and I was really pretty confident because I worked in the engineering department, and the engineers and the architects that I work with every day rebuilt that building. We had lights in the stairwell. Everyone was calm. I wasn't afraid. But then I started to become afraid when I saw half-eaten sandwiches thrown on the ground. Coffee cups, women's heels kicked off, and then the words that I will never forget. Firefighters coming, stay to the right. We all moved to the right, and these brave men passed us in full gear with 90 pounds or whatever plus of gear on their backs, and we applauded them. We told them we love them, God bless you, God be with you, good luck. And we continued down. Every so often, there would be a rest stop. I didn't want to stop because I didn't want to take any time. I wanted to get out of there. The further down I was going, the more nervous I was getting because more groups of firefighters were coming, and their faces were blank. And it was hard to figure out what was going on, but I knew that we were in trouble. Water started cascading down the stairways, and when we got to the plaza level, we were told to get out of the stairwell, and I looked out onto that beautiful plaza where I had had lunch many, many times, sat and listened to concerts, and it was just a blaze. There were piles of flames all over. We were directed down through the concourse and out across from St. Paul's Church. Keep moving, don't look up. Keep moving, don't look up. Of course, I stopped and I looked up and I saw this big hole in the side of the building. About 2 blocks away, I ran into some coworkers, and we were trying to figure out what had happened when we heard this horrific crash. And we looked, and Building 2 was cascading down, and that rolling smoke was coming towards us. I started to scream, and Bernie yelled, shut up and run. He grabbed my arm, and we went up on the Brooklyn Bridge. I finally made it home, and I was in touch with my son, who I had just gotten off the phone with about 5 minutes before the plane hit, and he was hysterical. He kept asking for his mommy. And he was 25 at the time, and he had to put his father on the phone, and I said, I'm alive. I'm not doing so well, but I'm alive. Got the call. When I finally got home, the phone was ringing, and we were trying to figure out who's safe, who's missing. I got a call, we have to go back to work next week. Wound up in an office in Jersey City, and the first few days were spent just hugging and kissing people and consoling one another for our coworkers who had been killed. There were 74 people at the Port Authority who had died, and I knew quite a few of them. I might not know them by name, but I knew them by face and in the cafeteria, whatever. When I went back to work, I was Miss Port Authority USA, as I like to say. I was dressed head to toe, red, white, and blue. I was the most patriotic woman that you've ever seen. I was so filled with positive feelings about my company and about my home and about my country. And I went on until March, when I couldn't get out of bed one day. And I took a day off, I took 2 days off, I took a week off. My husband, Peter, kept saying, come on, it's a beautiful day. And I wanted to tell him what he could do with this beautiful day. We fought an awful lot, and I would sleep all day. And I would wake up and I would be disappointed that I was alive. Because why did I survive? Why me? What was so special about me? When my friends died, people that I worked with, people that I had lunch with, got out and took a rest at the foot of the building, and the building came down. Her watch is over in the museum. It just was too much. I couldn't cope. And then I went out on a medical leave, and I was on medication. I started to see therapists, individual therapists, and group therapy. I was in every kind of therapy and taking every kind of antidepressant that you could think of. And then one day Peter came home and he walked in and he started to cry. And I said, what's the matter with you? And he said, you're knitting. You're coming back to me. And then I took early retirement in December of 2002 from a job that I really loved, but I couldn't face going back to my coworkers and my friends because I was ashamed that I wasn't brave enough, that they were brave and I couldn't handle it. So I took early retirement. And the following year, I got a wedding invitation from one of my coworkers, and I said, well, maybe this is a good sign. So we went to the wedding, and we had a great time, and I was not surprised at the welcome I received, even though I had gained 50 pounds, because that's all I did when I was home was I ate and I knitted, and I didn't want to leave the house. But then about a month or so later, I got another invitation, and it was from the Tribute Center through the Port Authority Retirees Association, and they asked for volunteers to come in. So I said, oh, let me see what this is all about. And I came, and I just fell in love with these people because it was a place where I could find comfort and solace, that I didn't have to belabor my friends and my family with talk about the Trade Center. I knew that this was a safe place for me to come. And I took the training, and I shared my story. And it helped. I shared my story again today, and it was such a healing. And people don't realize how much healing that I received back from the people that I tell the story to. And then one day, another September day, in 2007, he knows what's coming. It was another very important day in my life. It was the day I held my grandson for the first time. And I looked down at this little boy, and I said to him, hey, Jules. His name was Julian Thomas. And I said, hey, Jules, I'm your Nana. And we're going to have a lot of fun. And we're going to take care of one another. And you need me, and I need you. And he is a delight in my life. He can be a pain in the neck sometimes, but I do love him. And a few years ago, he was about 5, I guess. He wanted to be a firefighter for Halloween. So I bought him the firefighter startup uniform, and I have this wonderful picture of him, and he's standing as proud as anything, holding a pink stuffed pig. And whenever I look at that, and I show it on my tour, and I always say that I think this is Julian's way of saying to those brave men that I passed on the stairwell, thank you for saving my Nana. And I'm very, very proud that he's here to join me tonight. Thank you.